Going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk about cornerbacks. We're going to continue this conversation with Marshon Lattimore. Okay, we think that, if we think we need a corner and we need to go out and get somebody, Stephon Gilmore, some people are for it, some people aren't. And the people that aren't are very vocal about not being for Stephon Gilmore. I get it, man. I get it. But if we're not going to get Stephon Gilmore, not going to go through free agency, what if the Colts were to make some sort of trade, right? You've seen star players get traded for less money if they're making a lot of money, right? So, or, less assets, I should say, rather, if they're making a lot of money. So, for this one, Marshon Lattimore, he signed an extension back in 2021. It was for 5 years, $97 million. So a big contract for Marshon Lattimore, especially somebody at his age. He's not 30 yet, though, so there's plenty left in the tank. Now, this is somebody that last season had a bit of a down year, right? When you look at him, he ended up having a 67.4 PFF rating, and we don't completely live by PFF here on this channel, but it is some semblance, at least should be. I pay attention to the Saints a little bit, always a team that I've kind of favored a little bit, and for he's just been inconsistent, obviously, against Mike Evans. For some reason, in that matchup, he's always able to come out and do his thing. But when you look at it, he only had one interception last season. So all around, his numbers down a little bit this past season. Could he make a comeback? Of course. We've seen plenty of players come back, have really good years after they had a down year. Kenny Moore, 2022, had a really down year, was able to come back, have one of the better years of his career in 2023. So when you look at it, would it make sense for the Saints? The reason this comes up is because ever since Kool-Aid McKinstry was drafted, I kind of thought maybe Marshon Lattimore is somebody that would be on the table. Now, with his contract, that makes things difficult, but they have Paulson Adebo at cornerback, and Paulson Adebo actually had a good year last year, a 78.7 PFF grade, 4 interceptions last year. He was targeted 88 times, which is up there a bit, and he allowed 50 receptions. But again, he did get his hands on the ball a lot, somebody that continues to improve in his NFL career. He also had 63 tackles, which is nice for a corner. So maybe they'd be willing to move off of him now that they have Paulson Adebo and Kool-Aid McKinstry. Maybe that makes Marshon Lattimore able to be somebody who gets moved. Maybe they're trying to, build for the future. It's not like there are any reports of that possibly being the case. Well, I'm just thinking from the Colts' point of view, if you want to get better at corner, you want to get one of the better corners in the league. Is Marshon Lattimore a guy that you take a chance on? Again, because of what he's going to be making, because of the cap hit that's going to be endured by the Colts, they could probably get him for cheaper than first round picks. They probably wouldn't have to do first rounders. They probably wouldn't have to do second rounders. Just like Debo, I feel like these star players, a good range for these guys is starting at threes. If you're making a bunch of money, start at threes. Multiple picks in there, but not a first, not a second. Wide receivers different than cornerback. Also, you can get more for a wide receiver. For cornerback, you might be able to get Lattimore for like a 4 this year and a 6 next year, right? Like super cheap because of the money. Now in 2024, the cap hit isn't crazy. It's $14.6 million against the cap. His guaranteed salary is $12 million. But it's after 2024 that, for me, starts to become a problem. The dead cap hit goes way down. Dead cap hit, like if he was to be, cut or traded or whatever, which obviously wouldn't happen, but dead cap hit at $43.2 million, which doesn't really matter for the Colts. But then when you look forward, the dead money next year is going to be 20.6 million. So you're basically like, you got to keep him. You might as well keep him. But his cap hit's going to be $31.4 million. Okay. With a base salary of 16 million, a signing bonus of 10.648 million. Right. Then you have a roster bonus and another bonus in there. Right. So ends up being $31.4 million on the cap. That's against the cap next season. We're trying to build around Anthony Richardson, trying to make sure we can continue to win. Do you want that much of your cap number to be centered around one guy on the defense. You might even say, yeah, one guy is making a bunch of money right now. You know, you look at DeForest Buckner. Yes, he has a massive contract. But then at that point, do you want to give multiple people massive contracts like that? I'm just not sure that that's something that the Colts would want to do. I don't know if it's something that I would do if I was Chris Ballard. I don't know. That's a lot of money, man. Right? But you're looking at it. What do you get for that money? If you look at Marshon Lattimore and like getting the best out of Marshon Lattimore in this Gus Bradley system, then I think it could make sense. It could pay off. It's just a lot would have to happen for that to be able to pay off, right? So 2026 is basically the same thing. $28.555 million in 2026. You know, basically all the same thing. 16.5 in base salary, has a signing bonus of $7.297 million, another $2 million roster bonus. So all in all, a lot of money over 2 years. The dead cap hit in 2026 does go down to $9.9 million. So if the investment doesn't work out, you can cut bait and it won't be crazy in 2026. And then after that, 2027, 2028, voided years. So you could trade for Marshon Lattimore. You get him for 3 years, potentially only 2 years. Again, if it doesn't work out, you can cut him before the last year. Let him go do his own thing. So all in all, like, do I think this is something the Colts should do? I think the Colts should try to trade for Marshon Lattimore. More often than not, I land on the fact that the Colts should not trade for Marshon Lattimore. Again, I kind of like the room that we have right now. If we're going to add to it, I'd want it to be one of the free agents that's out there that we've talked about. Right, we've talked about Akila Witherspoon. That's probably the cheapest option of all the good options in free agency. But there are a couple of good guys in free agency. If we're going to get somebody, probably one of them instead of 31.4 million and 28.5 million against the cap. That's the part of this that made me stay away from it, or wants me to make sure we stay away from it. And so for me, this is a no. Marshall Lattimore, a no for me, but it's something I've been thinking of, something I thought was interesting. It's the off season. Let's talk about it. So you let me know your opinion of this down in the comment section. And of course, don't forget to subscribe with notifications on so you get notified of any other videos that come out. Of course, I appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.